So at that point, I was still pressed.
We're going to film that way. I don't know why they're over there.
O-W-E-R.
P-O-W-E-R.
We got the power, cuz.
We got the power, cuz.
We are the collective.
We are the collective.
Now what that sounds like altogether is P-O-W-E-R. We got the power, cuz we are the collective. Let me hear it. P-O-W-E-R. We got the power, cuz we are the collective. Hear it again. P-O-W-E-R. We got the power, cuz we are the collective. It's gonna take a little bit, but trust me, it's worth it. So then somebody goes in the middle, and when I say my name, you say yeah. So I go, my name's Nolini.
Yeah.
And I'm first on this list, and you go, uh-huh. And I got the power, cause I do it like this. And you all go, they do it like this. You'll get it. So let's start from the beginning. It's real weird, but it's P-O-W-E-R. We got the power, cause we are the collective. My name's Nolini, and I'm first on this list. And I got the power, cause I do it like this. They do. You guys gotta repeat. Come on. P-O-W-E-R. We got the power, cause we are the collective. All right, let me do something. All right. So usually in spaces, I want us to get really clear and really grounded. I know that it's sometimes silly to do this stuff, but it brings us together, and that's what our ancestors did. Our ancestors used music, rhythms, and joy to be connected. Used music to be connected when people couldn't speak the same languages. So when we do this, we aren't honoring, we're being fun, we're being silly, but we're also honoring a spirit that is joy as an act of resistance. Because people try to take our joy every single day by not giving us what we want, by not giving us the demands that we need to survive. So that is just we're not going to go too into that right now, but that's one thing that I would like us to do to continue to get to know each other is either play name games, meet each other where we're at, and use joy as an act of resistance. So in a second, we're going to be staged to this nice little live stream, very, very carefully, but I want to remind people of our principles. So, this is a repeat after me. All right. We the many deserve the right to thrive.
We the many deserve the right to thrive.
We believe in nonviolence.
We believe in nonviolence.
This is a little mouthful, sorry. We believe the most impacted communities understand the crises better than anyone else.
We believe the most impacted communities understand the crisis better than anyone else.
We believe that everyone in this space is deserving of immense respect.
We believe that everyone in this space is deserving of immense respect.
We believe in assuming positive intent.
We believe in assuming positive intent.
We believe in honoring our action by showing up, cleaning up after ourselves, and making the best of every situation.
We believe in honoring
We believe in disruption.
We believe in disruption.
We believe in anti-oppressive spaces.
We believe in anti-oppressive spaces.
And we believe in principled struggle.
And we believe in principled struggle.
All right, so we're in a moment of life and death for our democracy, our communities, and our planet. We are united in our struggle to improve the lives of working people. Are y'all with me?
Yeah!
All right, I'm going to turn it over to make sure we get information.
All right. How are people feeling today? Are you guys about the $3.5 trillion reconciliation package? Okay, so we are now going to be going live with some of our favorites in Congress. So fun. And we are now telling the public that we are going to be here every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., right? When we do this, we want to look powerful and we want to just show how powerful the people are, okay? So I'm going to be directing you. This is our camera right here, and I now need everybody to come and face me. Come in, fill in the line, and I need you to face me. JP, can I get you to stand in the middle?
Yeah.
I want people to fill in on either side of JP. If you are wearing white, come to the front because that is our color today. All right, fill in. I need some more people on this side. You can keep moving in.
How close?
You can get a little bit closer, I think. Come on, guys. I read it. JP doesn't bite. I don't bite. Let's come together. Okay, no. Scoot back a little. Scoot back a little.
Guys can go back.
Okay, you guys, I want everybody to take 2 steps back. Ready? 2 steps back. Okay, beautiful. Perfect. Let's fill in.
Two more.
2 more steps back, okay? All right, and I want us to practice something. I want you to relax your body for a moment. Like, go like this. Go like this. Do you feel powerful in this position? Okay, I now want you to stand like you are the freaking coolest person in the world and that you are a powerful organizer. Can you do that for me? What does that look like? All right, you guys look beautiful. I'm so ready to pass it. Let's bring people in more on this side. Can we fill in a little bit? Perfect. You guys look beautiful. We're here at the Capitol, and we're gonna freaking win. So let's do this.
How are we doing today? Hello everyone, my name is John Paul, but most of my friends call me JP. You're all my friends, so feel free to call me JP. I'm 19 years old, and I'm from Miami, Florida. Represent. I'm here today to make some demands on behalf of the people and places I love, because the time is real right now. We are facing a time of immense struggle. Growing up, my generation has felt what it's like to live in a time of constant crisis. I have felt what it's like to fear family members being lost to a broken immigration system. I have felt the fear of not having health care during a global pandemic. I have felt the fear of losing those around me in the places that I call home to rising seas and intensifying storms and wildfires that can be brought by a changing climate. This has been the reality of our generation and so many of the people who have taken care of us. We have been forced to live through times of constant crisis where the rest of us struggle to rebuild while a handful of people rake in incredible sums of money and power. But here's the thing. Crises of historic proportion demand solutions of historic proportion as well. And in this moment, we have the ability to deliver historic solutions at historic sizes. But there's a catch. Our generation came out in record numbers this year to elect Democrats to win back the presidency, the House, and the Senate. But we are not seeing all of the action and all of the demands and all of the promises that we elected them on be put in place front and center. We're not seeing that. So what do we got to do? We got to keep the pressure on. And thankfully, we have some members of Congress and some movement allies who are keeping the pressure up inside as we are doing it on the outside. And I am so excited to be introducing them today. Now, first up, speaking on our demands today, is Congressman Jamal Bowman.
What am I looking at? Who am I looking at? All the cameras, okay.
Right in the middle.
So we're not going to do the whole one at a time speaking thing. Yeah, we're not going to do the whole one at a time speaking thing. I wanted to bring my, soldiers, our soldiers in arms together in Congress, the people who are here fighting for progressive change longer than I was. I'm new. Rashida's a sophomore, and sophomore too? One more term, right? Junior or whatever you call it. But yeah, so first of all, this is obviously a pivotal moment in our country's history. We haven't considered making this sort of investment in the American economy in 100 years since the New Deal. This time we're trying to do it right, as we know, by centering equity, by centering racial justice, by centering women's rights and women empowerment, and by taking care of our seniors and most vulnerable. So for us, that's common sense. That's what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to govern from the perspective of humanity. But unfortunately, that's not always the case in Congress. And it seems like, speaking for myself, I just get deflated and frustrated because we always seem to govern from the perspective of scarcity and from the perspective of winners and losers. And so often those losers are black and brown. So often those losers are women. Those losers are Muslim. Those losers are people with disability. Those losers are seniors. And we're just tired of this scarcity, winner and loser narrative. We can do so much more as a nation. We have a moral responsibility to do more as a nation. And we have, we've shed so much blood for 245 years as a nation, and before that as a colony, with bombs and missiles and guns and all for profit, all for capital. And what we're saying is we could be better than that, and we could do more than that. And in my district, it's the rich and the poor, and not even the rich. It's the freaking super wealthy. Like these white men taking trips out of space, and people can't pay their rents and getting evicted and sleeping in cars. This is what's happening, and I'm not okay with that. Especially, so it's wealthy and poor, right? And it's abject poverty. And on the abject poverty side, they're black and they're brown and they're single women. And what's happening to the young men? They're getting killed and they're killing each other because they've been living with despair and stress and trauma and living with things that no human should be required to live with. And we've allowed this to happen as a policy decision. Certain lives don't matter as much as others. And this is every day. And when we talk about climate, Hurricane Ida just destroyed part of my district. 8 people dead. 2 beloved college professors were driving in what they thought was a rainstorm. It turned into a flash flood. They could not get away from their car. They drowned together. 2 husband and wife college professors from Iona College in my district, both in their 70s. Probably had decades to live. This storm came and took them out. We're not even prepared for what's happening now. This investment is a chance to rebuild our world rooted in care. Care for each other, care for this country, care for the world, and care for the environment. And it's life or death because people are dying every day, whether it's heat stroke, forest fire, flooding, whatever. And if they're not dying, they're losing everything. And we're just leaving them there to suffer. And the best some of my colleagues have to say is, well, I don't want to create an entitlement country. I don't want to create a socialist country. Except for billionaires, right? The last thing I'll say is this. If we really care, China, we got to do this because of China and competition and China. I know China must be like, damn, why y'all sweating me? Damn, y'all scared of me like that? I thought the white man was superior. Y'all scared of Chinese people like that? I bet you that's what they're thinking. But if we really cared about competition and defeating China and being and living the ideals of our country, if we really cared about that, we would invest equitably in every single person in our country, because that would make the economy more powerful than we can imagine, if that's your thing. My thing is less that and more, how about we just take care of people and make sure that their well-being is where it needs to be so they could live healthy, happy, free lives and be their true selves, whatever that self may be. So yeah, I'll pass the mic to Mr. Rokana. Let me just say this. I'm so blessed that Ro and Rashida did it before me, because watching them from afar gave me a blueprint on how to get to Congress and then be in Congress. I watched them to learn. And Rashida is the biggest badass in the universe. And I'm just so humbled by them. So thank you for letting me just be down with y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give Bowman. First of all, let me thank all of you, the folks from Sunrise, for being out here. Your voice is being heard. You've made a huge, huge difference. Let's give the Sunrise Movement and everyone who's out there a round of applause. Now, here's how I look at it. They say, well, why aren't you just voting for this bipartisan deal? No one asked me my opinion when that whole bipartisan deal was being negotiated. Did they ask your opinion on that deal? Did you get consulted on the deal? So I don't understand what they talk about bipartisan deal. Who are they actually talking to? Because here's the problem. It wasn't just hurt feelings, we didn't get a say in the bill. Here's what they did. They said, okay, we're going to invest in the traditional economy. We're going to have more roads, we're going to have more bridges, we're going to have more highways. Okay, we need more highways and bridges, but that's going to mean more CO2 emission, more traditional cars, and what did we say? Well, if you're going to do that, let's have some electric buses. No, they cut that out of the bill. The bill actually requires not to have electric buses. Well, let's have some electric vehicles and infrastructure. No, that's not going to be part of the bill. Well, let's at least have a clean energy standard. No, that's not part of the bill. So what we said is, okay, if you're really going to not take our opinion and not put any climate change in the bill, that we have to make sure, if we're going to actually vote for this bill that's inadequate, that we have a separate bill that actually addresses climate. This seems to be a perfectly reasonable position, already a compromising position. If they wanted an infrastructure bill only, they should have had progressives in the first place craft that infrastructure bill. And we could have done infrastructure without Lincoln. It would have been an infrastructure bill that looked at the climate crisis. But they can't come to progressives saying, vote for our stuff, but we don't want your input. They can't come to progressives and say, we expect you to get in line, but we don't want to listen to what you have to say. It's not going to work. And, this is actually Biden's agenda. It's the agenda of 210 members of the House of Representatives and 48 senators. There are a few folks who are not on board. There are a lot of industries who are not on board. There's a lot of money that's not on board. So don't let people confuse you to think that this is some kind of ideological fight for the soul of the Democratic Party. The fight has been won. The people are clearly on one side. The party is on one side. On the other side are corporate interests, are greed, are the status quo special interests. They don't need to be reasoned with. They need to be defeated. And that is what we're going to do. We're strong. With Bowman, with Rashida Tlaib, with me, with our great progressive chair, Pramila Jayapal, that we're unified, and we're going to make sure that the entire president's agenda passes. With that, let me add it. Rashida Tlaib is amazing in many ways, but I love her most for her leadership as the vice chair. We're partners on this environment subcommittee and holding polluters accountable. And she's such a great friend. We worked together on Bernie's campaign. And with that, Representative Tlaib.
No, thank you so much. I'm sorry, JP, we totally took your, I know you were moderating, but we wanted to do this together. No, I just want you to see that we're united. And we're all in this together. And so I want to thank every single movement organization that is here. When I say movement, it's because it's not, staff. It's like a membership of people behind every single organization. I wanted to be with all of you because for so long you've been giving credibility for folks in my district, and the 13th district was the third poorest congressional district in the country. You talk about frontline communities, it's like my district. I want the human suffering to stop. And the human suffering stops when we invest in people. And I can't tell you how hard it is for me to go into schools throughout my district where their water fountains are shut down because they're infested, completely contaminated with lead. We got to get the lead out of the water. And the $3.5 trillion gets us closer to that, and that was already our compromise. And I got to reiterate that, and it's important. We went from $6 trillion to $3.5 trillion. We worked together, not in closed doors, but together in trying to get to the dollar amounts to address the fact that we need clean drinking water, that we need clean air, that we need to make sure that we're not only taking care of the infrastructure outside of the home, but also inside of the home, the families that live in these homes. And so just know that we're with you, all of you, in demanding accountability of our own government. And government's supposed to be about people. And the $3.5 trillion gets us closer to that. Don't believe the gaslighting, the misleading information out there about what this is about. It is about ending human suffering. When you look at a district like mine, again, Michigan, we lost more black home ownership than any other state in the country. We also, because housing is infrastructure, we also, honestly, if you look at the folks that died of COVID at a high rate, it's my black neighbors. Even though 40% of my black neighbors died of COVID, even though they make up less than 14% of the total population in Michigan. That tells you the systems and the structures in place are not going to end the human suffering, especially in communities that look like mine. And so I stand here in unity with all of you. Thank you for being out here. I know it's going to be really difficult, but know this, there are people at home that can't be here. You're here for all the millions of people in my district and all around the country that want us to do more. I just wanted to let you know, believe the people, not the pundits out there, not all those folks, because let me tell you, the majority of my colleagues are an income bracket that is completely disconnected with the herd on the ground. And the folks here know that. And I gotta tell you, this is how we are able to transform our country, is through folks on the streets, on the ground, demanding it. And so I stand here in unity with all of you, and I know we're gonna be able to succeed again in getting that $3.5 trillion passed so we can change people's lives for the better.
I mean, that's well said. We're like staying here until this piece of legislation that can begin, let me be clear, begin, because it's not an end-all be-all, begin the transformation that we have needed for so long to finally deliver on the needs of regular working people. Until that piece of legislation goes through both the House and the Senate, we will be right here. And so if you're at home watching or from wherever you're watching, we are standing with you in our hearts, but you can also come and join us to make sure that this $3.5 budget gets through both chambers and makes our lives a little better. And we keep fighting until we do so. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, we're done.
All right.
All right.
Everybody.
Yeah. Okay, just to reiterate, I know we're all students here, busy schedules.
You're not all students.
Okay, we're not all students.
Just you,
I'm looking
JP.
at students. We got all sorts of people here, though. We've got students. We've got working people. We've got people who have lives outside of these chambers of Congress who have taken time to be out here with us today. And this shit's hard. You know, it's quite embarrassing, honestly, that we have to put our entire lives at hold to demand that maybe we can have a livable future or good health care or like we can be.
It was about trying to push the Fischer deal to
we're going to be here all week, and we're welcome to come and join us. And
trying to merge two bills.
Please do 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Recruit your
they kind of
friends. More people we get, we're going to show the freaking power of the people, right?